The Drawing Center, the Outsider Art Fair, and the American Folk Art Museum are all vital parts of the New York art world ecosystem. And it's really great the way we collaborate with each other, and we're truly kindred spirits.
3 years or so ago, I heard from a fellow curator that the artist KAWS had a magnificent collection of comics and illustration. And it piqued my interest because one of the things that the Drawing Center really wants to do is to be able to broaden our idea of what great drawing is. And that will include kinds of things like comics or illustration. So I searched out Brian and asked him about his collection, and what began to unfold just blew my mind. More than 3,000 works of art, most of them works on paper, very heavily leaning towards work of self-taught artists and neurodiverse artists, artists from New York in the 1980s, as well as pods of artists like the Chicago Imagists. Brian is not only our sole lender, but he's also the curator of the exhibition.
I love the exhibition. I think it's really beautiful. I really love these pieces.
Ellen Ray's.
Yes,
yeah.
I really, really love them. And there's someone who I didn't know.
Right.
And you know, this is what I look to Andrew for, is showing me art outside of the art world that is really important.
Right.
And these, look at this one. It's like come in here.
Yeah.
It's like a Matisse.
The through line, if you will, of all the works in this show, save maybe the sculptures, is that attention to graphic quality.
I really see KAWS as this type of artist collector in the vein of Jean Dubuffet, for instance, or Roger Brown.
Artists look at art in a different way than curators do or observers do. And I wanted to bring you over to this wall here because this is an example of why this is an artist-curated show and not a curator-curated show. This wall of drawings is the work of Helen Ray. Helen Ray was a neurodiverse artist who died several years ago, and Brian was made aware of this work from the Outsider Art Fair. He fell in love with it. Who wouldn't?
Part of his love for this material is that he wants to take responsibility. It's not just about ownership. I think he's taking the mantle upon himself that he has the wherewithal to safeguard and protect this work and make sure that it has a legacy.
The show can kind of be summarized by what you see in front of you. There's an amazing Joyce Pensato drawing, and then surrounding you are Basil Wolverton drawings, a suite of portraits, and a group of paintings for the Monster sticker series from Topps Bubblegum. And I think it's that kind of generosity of spirit that we see throughout the show, this sort of all-inclusiveness.
KAWS chose to exhibit two major paintings of Joe's that are portraits of Adolf Wolfli and Henry Darger, who are arguably the two most celebrated outsider artists the world's ever known.
Both of them created this kind of unique, personal world. That kind of storytelling speaks to me too. And in a way, it has a very religious quality to it. Both of them have kind of found a release, from their trauma. And they are kind of like the martyred saints. The religious painters, they don't just paint, they caress.
The Drawing Center is greatly privileged to be able to show the work of self-taught artists. And not just because they're self-taught, but because these artists consistently in the 20th century and the 21st century are the greatest artists who work on paper.
What I love about KAWS is, even though he came after the subways, I started to see his name on the highways of Jersey City, writing KAWS, then he moved up to billboards, then he did the bus shelter thing. But he was inspired by the people who came before him. He met Don D, he was like an apprentice to Zephyr, and hung out with the real train dudes and was inspired by them and just went in a different direction. But what I love about him is he never forgot where he came from, and he put money in the people's pockets that didn't have a market and created their market and gave them the respect that nobody else in the art world would give them.
How about Robert Crumb? He was featured in the tribute we did in the curated booth of the History of the Psychedelic Solution Gallery in 2022. And Aileen Kaminsky, Crumb, may she rest in peace, co-curated an exhibition in our Paris fair on female comics artists. So there's a lot of different threads running through this show that intersect at the Outsider Art Fair.
I think it shows that the barriers are coming down. I mean, I think it shows that KAWS is a great collector, and that the Outsider Art Fair has really been doing it before it was, I'm going to say, quote unquote, cool. The Outsider Fair was, and Edlin also in his gallery has been showing outsider and quote unquote fine art. You're starting to see some of the genres together, that the bigger galleries are doing the self-taught and the well-known, but to put in the street art and to put in all the other kinds of art together, and then to install it in this spectacular way with these juxtapositions is just amazing.
One of the common links between everything in here is that the artist is completely dialed into their imagination.
This is a service. It's an artist-to-artist service. It's as much a share as it is a show, because the information contained in the exhibition is not only a feast for the eyes, but also for those who are interested in self-taught art, for those who are interested in drawing, for those who are interested in contemporary culture.
This exhibition at the Drawing Center is a microcosm of where the outsider art field is at this moment. As we speak, there are excellent exhibitions featuring self-taught artists at the Metropolitan Museum, the Whitney, MoMA, of course at the American Folk Art Museum, and here at the Drawing Center, you have the most canonical outsider artists together with other self-taught artists that aren't quite as well known yet, juxtaposed with graffiti artists, with contemporary artists, with modern artists, and they all work together beautifully.
This exhibition offers a view of what has happened and is happening in the contemporary art community that you'll never see anywhere else, ever.